Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have another interesting game to share with you. On the white end, LeelaKnightOdds, no king knight, playing against Awonder A-Liang. Awonder recently crossed 2,700 FIDE, so big congrats to him. That's a fantastic mark. Currently ranked 30th in the world. This here, a 3+2 blitz game played on lichess October 9th. Awonder scores, has one of the better scores you'll find against LeelaKnightOdds. Scores 25%, and that is through 46 games. Okay, a familiar weapon of choice we have here by LeelaKnightOdds, at least when playing without the king knight. We have on board a Jobava-London. Follow up c5, center point, maintained. And knight b5 move ruled out. No worry about converging on c7. Queen d3. So interfering with bishop development. Knight c6, f3. This is a familiar idea to try and disturb the knight. Follow up g6. Queenside castles. And from here, h5. What move do you think Leela plays next? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, a couple things going on behind h5. One, interfere with the g-pawn running up here. And another, bishop h6 may be being supported, getting in a trade. Leela says not so fast. Doesn't allow this bishop h6 idea. Another detail, queen has a watchful eye over a potential break in the center. e5. All right, from here, bishop g7, king b1. Now, rather than king b1, if white tries to get in, let's say this g4 move, if you're playing h3 here while the rook is still on h8, h4 is always going to be a move, pretty much clamping down on g3, holding up g4. Okay, we have the very standard king move after queenside castles. b1 it is. Castles. Now we do see h3. Now that the rook is not going to be around supporting a pawn on h4. From here it's rook e8. If this pawn is stepping up, maybe Leela goes hunting for that pawn straight away. Okay, in this game it's rook e8, g4, b5, bishop e5. Okay, so in a way saying if you take, I'm taking with the pawn, potential problem here on d5, b4. One of the things I found instructive with this game was where this knight went in response to b4. Where would you go here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, these are the two moves to consider. Leela goes back, plays to e2. We're going to see that this piece has there's some fancy footwork in this knight ahead. Now, if you go to a4, queen a5, what's happening with the knight? What do you do? If you're supporting it with b3, we could see a variation like this where you start to lose control in the center. There's some fancy d4 move here. If rook captures pawn, there's knight d5. Nice forward reaction to this threat. Knight ready to maybe land on the weakened c3 square. Also, in the case of queen captures pawn in this line, there's this nice tactic available to black. Bishop captures g4 to connect rooks. White's rook's not yet connected, the point being, if white's recapturing there on g4, probably with the h-pawn, if you're going to capture, there would be this skewer idea. My point, you sort of lose control somewhat as white if the knight is playing to a4 to weaken these dark squares. We have instead knight e2, so some extra care, we might say, is being taken over this center point d4. In the case of knight takes, pawn takes, Nice grip over d4. This knight has another square in mind, and this will be revealed soon enough. Black presses on the queen side with a5. Knight f4. So a couple pressure points. g6, h5. Pressure on d5 still there in the case of a capture on e5. This is going to be a soft point for sure. From here it is h4. Okay. Follow up bishop b5. There is a pin. It's broken. Bishop for knight exchange. So this is the extra piece in this case. Light square bishop, and it's not really so effective here. Staring at a pawn. This bishop is very strong in the center. Follow up here, rook h to g1. The first move you can't play if you're starting with the king knight. This is move 18. I was curious what the evaluation would be in this position if you still had that king knight around. It's saying that it's about equal. And it's saying one of the top moves is to develop that knight to its only square. Okay, in this game we have rook h to g1, a4, pop quiz. What's your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, I've given a couple hints throughout. In order to justify this move, you have to do something flashy, and here comes the flash. This fancy footwork. We have here knight h5. We see this with Leela games. Somehow finds a path to activate the rooks. The black rook's not really doing anything exciting just yet. Really just daring black to capture on h5 in whatever direction you want. Anything to spring a file open or half open towards the enemy king, especially in this opposite side's castles game. Black does not bite. No capture on h5 here. Continues with b3. Now, in the case of knight captures knight, pawn takes, this is a problem here, allowing this rook to open up. If there's a capture here, what has happened with just these last few moves? Black has now 0 pieces defending his kingside. And this is already decisive advantage for white. That's how quickly this game can turn decisive if this file is opening up. Also, if there is pawn captures knight, what it is looking at is pawn takes pawn, and now it says that it's equal with king h7 and then some sacrifice on g7. Okay, let's not open up the g file. In the game, we have b3, c takes b, a takes b, knight captures bishop, and from here we have the simple recapture. Capturing on a2 with the rook, it likes queen captures pawn, you're on the rook here. It's also on this rook still. Also, if pawn captures pawn here, we'd have that familiar idea to use this pawn against black. Nice defender for white, black's a2 pawn. We have the simple recapture here on g7. Black goes into a pin. Another pop quiz. What's your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, don't be tempted, in this case, by g5. Working on this pin. This little pop quiz here in a way testing the that defensive muscle, I guess, in a way. This is an appropriate moment to take time out to defend, to address this pressure now on a2. The correct path here is with a3. That's the move we see in the game. Now, if you rush with this idea of g5, it's appealing. You're ready to take. This file opens up. You're going to get a piece back. The problem is that black can take on a2, and if you're swiping the knight, This rook springs to life. Black's going to be winning this piece back, and this is going to be a problem for white, the opened A file. So not so fast to rush in here with G5. Timeout for king safety. We have A3. Black unpins the knight. Queen now sweeps in, looking to hunt the pawn next with check. Black backs off. And at this point, Leela doesn't care about the pawn. Cares more about a stronger queen post, we might say. We have queen h6. The queen is better coordinated with the bishop on h6 rather than h4. Look at the restricted state black is in. The queen is definitely functioning like a queen here. King has no legal moves. The knight should not move. Any knight move, we're looking at mate on h8 or g7. Okay, nearby, there's now g5. A capture, a sacrifice on g6. These ideas are creeping closer. A nice defensive move now by black. These are retreating moves, not easy. We have bishop d7. From here, rook d3 is played. If you try g5, black can immediately take advantage of the weakness of that last move and land this check, and this will be a fantastic piece. This is a win here for black. Very good offensive and defensive piece, shutting down any sacrificial idea on g6. If we're to play this out a little bit, first of all, where would you go with the king? If you move towards the center and try to run, you're not going to run too far. This is as far as I'm going to take it. King there, there's a check, and you could just pick up a pawn here. There's no attack for white. Capturing the knight. This rook springs to life. Big trouble here for the king. Also, the king going to the corner in response to this check. You're asking for a sacrifice on a3, and this is considered winning. Mate in one threat. King b2, rook c8 threatens two different checks. c2, queen c3. If you try to cover both, there's queen d2. King takes pawn bishop check, a winning attack. My point, do not, as white, concede this f5 square. Rook d3, maybe. This idea is a hair closer to working in this dynamic, time-sensitive position. g5, bishop f5, no longer hitting with check. Okay, we have here queen b6. No g5, this would still be a winning idea, still very effective. We have instead f4, queen b5, rook d2, rook e to c8, f5. Pop quiz. What move would you play here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, this is one of those moments we frequently see in these odds games where you must come up with an only move to maintain a decisive advantage. Black doesn't find the best play. Puts the rook here on c2. Very human move. Activate the rook. 7th rank, 2nd rank in this case. Here's the only move that maintains a winning advantage. Was this on anyone's radar? Queen a6. I don't know who's coming up with queen a6 here. Let me take you through my train of thought as best I can remember when I saw this being pointed out. I thought, okay, you're there to provide some lateral defense of the knight. In the case of a capture, queen recapture, she defends a lot of the important kingside squares there. But why a6 specifically? I mean, why not maybe just go to b6? Well, with queen a6 in particular, black is in a spot to meet pawn takes pawn with bishop to b5. This is one of the top responses, and there is some function for the queen and bishop on this diagonal. There's some resource available with a timely check on d3, and the bishop can be there to defend some key kingside squares. Who's coming up with this? Also, in some lines, it may be purposeful to be defending against a rook f1 check if the king is flushed out of the king side. Holy cow. Okay. Queen a6. Be sure to leave a comment if you came up with queen a6 here. In the game, we have rook c2, bishop captures knight, pawn captures bishop, pawn captures pawn, mate and 2 threat, no time to take the rook. Pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn, pop quiz. Where are you going with the king? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, in the game, king h8 is played, and this is losing. We'll see why soon enough. In response to king h8, we have g5. That's a winning path. Now, if king f8 was played, it says that this is equal. There is a perpetual check in the air. King and queen moving to these squares. Important for black to stay off of the e8 square. You're inviting rook e1 check. If white plays g5 in this position with the king on f8 rather than h8, black would be winning with one move. I wonder if you can spot it. Feel free to pause the video. All right, this here's the only winning move. Very sneaky move, sort of doing what? Encouraging queen captures pawn with check. If queen captures pawn with check, there's king g8 and black would have a moment to breathe. There's no good follow-up check. If queen captures bishop, there's rook captures rook. And if there is a check here, the king slips away now. No check on f1. And there is a check on e1, but there is a block on e2. This is winning for black. Okay. Also, if white responds to bishop f5 with queen captures bishop, yet again, rook captures rook is there. A queen exchange is nearby. If queen captures pawn, yet again, king here, you meet the check with rook e2. Okay, we do not see king f8, picks the wrong square, h8 in this case. g5. Black has about a minute 15 at this point, spent about 30 seconds here, plays bishop f5. This is a very nice try. How would you respond here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, capturing the bishop, capturing the pawn are both losing. Queen takes bishop. We have this same idea. Black is up the rook. The king will be able to slip away here. If queen captures pawn, there's king g8. No good follow-up checks. The winning way in this position is to meet bishop f5 with queen h6 check. This pawn, maybe there's a capture, maybe there's a push, retaining, squeezing the most still out of this position, squeezing the most out of this pawn, retaining its options. And now what do you do as black? In the game, it's king g8. The only other option would be to block. In response to the block, with a discovered check nearby, we would have queen captures pawn check, only move, and then g6. The bishop gets squashed. It's ready to be captured next with double check and mate to follow soon thereafter. What a sequence. All right. Black's plays with king g8. Now we see g takes f, discovered check, king f7, and after move 35, queen g7 check, black resigns. It's checkmate next. Only 2 legal moves. And next up, queen e7, mate. What a pretty game. I really like the knight maneuver. That's the main move that really stuck out to me with this game. The knight drifting to f4, rook g1, and then sinking in there to h5, sort of some fishing pole action going on, just daring black to open up this g file and breaking down, eliminating these key kingside defenders. Anyhow, your thoughts with this one? Feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.